Okay, Luke, coming off of a big 3-1 series victory over Central Washington, really saw a lot of different type of games. You guys tied a program record for runs in a game in a 21-8 win. You also had to come from behind in the last inning in Game 4 to get a victory, so you really got a lot of different tastes out there.
Oh, yeah. The first game, we just had a great approach. Guys were seeing pitches. We knew coming into that guy, he walked a lot of guys, but he also struck out a lot of guys. And we wanted to make sure not get him in a roll early. We wanted to see pitches go deep into counts, which is hard for a lot of hitters, especially me. So I'm an aggressive hitter. I like to hit and count, but we were all lucky enough to get. We just walked and kept walking and watched a lot of close pitches, got deep into counts, and then that forced him to try to make a couple perfect pitches, and things went our way. We got him out in the first inning, and then the wheels just came off, and we started hitting well. And you couldn't ask for a better first game than that. Just get out there, kind of get ahead in the series, and try to go into this last game and win the series.
In the very first game of the series, you guys were down big 6-0. Brody Miller hit a big grand slam, got the wheels going. You guys tied it up 8-8. And then you stepped to the plate in the last of the 8th inning there. Really unique at bat for you. Had an inside the park home run. You hit a ball off the center field wall and it kicked away. Take me through what you were thinking as you were rounding the bases there.
I was actually, when I hit it, I didn't know if he was going to catch it, and I was running about 3/4 the way speed. So we should have ran a little faster, but was kind of watching the ball. And right as I ran first, I saw that he ran to the wall and the ball bounced away. So I just kind of turned on the speed and was running around the bases. And then once I got to third, I saw that he was kind of coming after the ball, and I thought, okay, coach is going to hold me up. But he gave me the go sign, and I was like, all right, here we go. So lucky bounce, I guess. You got to have a little bit of luck for inside the Parker. But, I mean, yeah, it was the first time it's ever happened in my career. It was great. Couldn't ask for a better hit at that time of the game. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it was the game-winning hit, drove in 3, and the Yellow Jackets went on to win 11-8 in Game 1. Looking at Game 4 there, you guys were in a tight spot. You had a 7-2 lead, but Central scored 7 runs in the 7th. And stepping to the plate was a player who had been struggling all season, but in this series just really came to life. Casey Merritt, a 2-run home run off of the scoreboard, tied that game, and set you guys up to win in extra innings.
Oh, yeah, Casey this past 3 weeks has been really working his butt off to just try to get back to where he was his freshman year. His freshman year probably could have been the freshman of the conference. A heck of a year. And then this year just couldn't get anything going in the beginning. Just had a couple tough at-bats, a couple tough games. And then Miles Bertram comes along and steps up. But Casey got his chance again this week, and he took full advantage of it. And that's the Casey we need to go deep into conference and possibly win the conference. That bat was the biggest bat probably of the series, and he took full advantage and rose up to the moment and hit a ball that usually Casey Merritt doesn't hit very many home runs, but he got a hold of one, and I couldn't ask for a better time for that.
So looking at the weekend, Brody Miller had just one for the ages in the GNAC. He hit 4 home runs, two grand slams. You two have a bit of a friendly competition going on stat-wise. You're the co-leaders in the conference in hits, both up there in RBIs. He's got 1 home run more than you now. Is that something you guys joke about with each other, the crazy numbers that you're both putting up together?
Yeah, we both joke. We always want to beat each other, because if we're beating each other, that means we're pushing up toward 2 of the top hitters in our league. And for us to have that, I can't ask anything more than Brody. If Brody keeps doing that, that makes me want to work harder and have better at bats. And it just keeps pushing each other, and then it pushes the other team, the whole entire team. And I just think that with Brody batting the way he was, that's the All-American that you're going to get him a couple times a series like that, and he just couldn't miss a ball. Anything in the strike zone, he was going to absolutely hit the crap out of. So it was just impressive. It was fun to watch him do that. So you can't ask for a better guy to bat behind, because I know I'm only 2 batters behind him, and most of the time when I'm up, he's on. So it was pretty remarkable.
And now with the 3-1 series win, you have arguably the most important series of the season coming up. You're hosting Western Oregon. It's actually almost a 5-game series, because you have the suspended game that you're going to finish. Just your thoughts on facing the team that's above you in the conference standings right now.
Yeah, this is a huge series. They got us there at their place, and we really need this series, because I think if we win this series, we tie them in first place, and overall we have a great chance to end up hosting the GNAC tournament, which would be first in MSUB history, and it'd just be great not have to travel on a bus. And we know that if for us to win the conference, we have to do well in this series. And I think everybody's focus is so on point right now, and we're all ready to do something that hasn't been done yet. And I think right now we're out here expecting to win. We're out here knowing that every time we step on the field, we should win the ball game. So it's teams riding high, and I think this going into this series, it's gonna be a fun series, fun one to watch, and fun one to play in.
Thanks, Luke. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, Brody, coming off of a 3-1 series victory over Central Washington. At the plate, you were 10 for 18 with 4 home runs, a couple of grand slams, really one of the best 4-game performances in GNAC history. Central Washington really just couldn't get you out towards the end there.
I was just seeing the ball well and not trying to do too much, and it worked out for me this weekend.
Second GNAC Player of the Week honor for you for the season. That was announced on Monday. One of your grand slams there in Game 1 got your team started. You were down 6-0. Gave you guys 4 runs cut into that lead, and you guys were able to come all the way back, win that game 11-8.
Yeah, I thought we came out a little flat that day, but again, our team came back and fought hard and finished the game the right way.
And in Game 1 on Saturday, you guys tied a program record for runs in the game with 21. You had a grand slam and a 2-run home run in that game. Talk about being able to get Central's pitcher out of the game in the first inning and face 6 different arms in that first game.
That was big. Coach Bishop is always telling us just grind at bats early in the game and see how high we can get their pitch count up, and we did that and it paid off for us.
You saw upwards of 30 pitches in that game alone. You had a 10-pitch at bat and then an 8-pitch at bat. Was your approach any different than it has been? Were you trying to be a little bit more patient?
No, Central was just making really good pitches on me, and with 2 strikes, I just had to foul them off until I got a pretty good pitch to hit and put in play.
Looking at a couple of other guys who stepped up for you in the series, Luke Reinschmidt, he had a couple big home runs for you on the first day, including an inside the park home run. That was a little bit of a unique play there for you.
Yeah, that was cool, definitely to watch and stuff. I saw Luke coming around second, and the ball still wasn't in yet, and then Coach waved him around third, and I was just telling him to stand up the whole way. It was pretty impressive.
So the only player on the team that had as many hits as you on the week was Casey Merritt. He had 10, really broke out of a slump he was kind of in, and perhaps the biggest swing of all, the 2-run home run to tie the game. He hit that off the scoreboard in Game 4. Just talk about Casey out there this weekend.
Yeah, that was really big for Casey. He's been struggling a little bit lately, but he came up big for us this weekend in a big spot, and hopefully he keeps it going for us the rest of the year.
And then in extra innings in Game 4, it was Connor Holbrook who ended up being the hero for you bottom of the 8th. He had the walk-off base hit there. Really just a bunch of different guys coming through for you at the plate.
Yeah, Connor had a nice hit there. Just a lot of guys stepping up big this weekend, and that's just how we have to win games. It's got to be a different guy every weekend, and people just need to step up and keep doing their job.
Now after the big weekend, it's kind of been a running theme throughout the year. You and Luke have been going back in the 4th in a lot of different categories. You guys are currently tied for second in hits. He's number 1 in runs. You're number 2. You're first in home runs. He's second. RBIs are tied for first. And then you guys are also neck and neck in total bases. You're first. He's second. So what do you guys talk about to each other, with a friendly competition going on there?
Yeah, just a friendly competition, that's all. It's good that he's on the team so that he can push me and I can push him. I think it makes our team better. Just that inside competition. That's pretty much it, yeah.
And then looking forward to this weekend, you guys have now won 10 of your last 12 games overall, really on a roll. You're in second place in the GNAC, and the team you're facing, Western Oregon, just a couple games ahead of you in the standings. How big is this 5-game series, as you move into the later part of your schedule?
Yeah, this is the biggest series coming up against Western. Just need to keep playing well and staying positive and come out with a couple victories.
Thanks, Brody.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, getting ready to host Western Oregon in a 5-game GNAC series coming up this weekend. Really a huge series for you. They're in first place in the GNAC standings. You guys are in second right now. Just your thoughts heading into really a unique series with that extra 5th game there.
We've had a couple different series in my time here where we've played 5 or we've played 6 because of weather, because of a suspended game, and it's just always a challenge. I mean, when you play 9-7, 9-7 like we do in the GNAC, it's already puts your pitching staff under a lot of pressure. And it doesn't matter which team. I mean, every pitching staff feels that same pressure in those long 4-game series. So even though it's only one more game, it really adds a premium to your starters doing a good job and getting deep into the game. And it's just not always that easy. If you have 4-game series, you can pretty much count on either side that one of the starters is going to struggle and need to come out early just by percentages. So, our pitching staff's going to have to do a good job in order to make sure that we can, just be as competitive as we want to be throughout the series.
Western Oregon coming off a sweep of St. Martin's. They've now won 6 GNAC games in a row. You guys, however, though, have won 10 of your last 12, series sweep and 2 3-1 series victories. It's safe to say that maybe you guys and them are playing your best baseball of the season right now.
I think you could obviously just look at the last 3-4 weeks and see that this matchup is going to be a big one. And the way we've tried to just kind of frame that is, our job really is just to try to win each series. I mean, it's still really way too early to look at the overall standings and have them mean anything. Any team in our league that has a great weekend and sweeps or wins 3 out of 4 can really leapfrog a couple other teams, and the opposite of that is true also. I mean, if you have a poor series, you can drop a couple of slots. So we're trying not to look at it as any more important than any other series. We need to defend our home field, and we need to do whatever we can to try to win this series, and then just kind of take it one series and one game at a time at that point.
Looking at the weekend that Brody Miller just had, it's really just one of the greatest ever in the history of the GNAC in terms of a 4-game weekend with 4 home runs, 2 grand slams. He was just so locked into the plate there.
Yeah, I mean, Brode was great, and we were joking at practice yesterday that, how often can you have a kid get 10 hits like Casey Merritt did? And, I mean, he's really not even in the conversation. Casey goes 10 for 18 and has a total breakout weekend and pounds the ball all over the place and plays great. I think he accounted for 16 or 17 runs. And Brode's weekend was so good that it overshadowed Casey's great weekend, and it overshadowed 2 or 3 other great weekends that individual guys had. So just, really an awesome thing to get to see and be a part of. And I'm just happy for him because he surely has put the work in to deserve to reap those rewards.
A big reason why he was able to have as many RBIs and big hits as he did is the guy setting the table for him, like you mentioned, Casey Merritt with 10 hits, and then Miles Berkman as well in that leadoff spot. Those 2 guys being able to flip the lineup over, get it to Brody consistently was just huge for you. Definitely.
I mean, Brode hitting second, obviously in the first inning, isn't always going to have a lot of RBI opportunities, but as the game goes on and those 7, 8, 9 guys in the order ahead of him and ahead of Miles, I mean, getting those guys on base has really been crucial. So that's, for us, it's Corey Morris and it's Connor Holbrook and it's Casey Merritt and Miles. I mean, those 4 guys have done their job to set the table. And then, in the event that we've had a hiccup somewhere, then behind Brode you have Sternhagen and you have Nix and you have Reinschmidt and you have Toon, all have picked up the slack when it's their turn. So kind of back to our common theme. It just needs to be a variety of guys and on a weekend, and it needs to be a variety of guys even during the course of a game. So our guys have done a good job just picking each other up in that respect.
Another performance that Brody Miller's we kind of overshadowed was Luke Reinschmidt. He also had a couple of home runs, an inside the Parker 3-run shot that was a game-winning home run in Game 1, and then he had a huge solo home run to tie Game 2. We've really seen all season those 2 guys go back and forth. They're number 1 and number 2 in the GNAC in many of the offensive categories. From your perspective, what has that competition within your team been like with those 2 guys?
Well, it's been great, and obviously those 2 guys are pulling for each other and want the other guy to do well. So it's fun for them because I know that they both of them like the big moment, and they both like to be the guy that the pressure is on, and it just you see players like that when there's somebody on base, they get better. And both Luke and Brode are that type of guy, and we surely have other guys that are like that. Where if you looked at the overall season number, you'd say, oh, they're having a decent season. But when you put a guy on second base or a guy on third base and 2 outs, there's another gear. And so I'm happy to have guys like that in our program and on our team, and guys that want to be in that big spot, and makes it a lot of fun to be at the ballpark.
On the pitching side of things, a guy who's taken the ball consistently and battled for you, Brody Miller, the senior lefty on the mound. Really looked like he was going to struggle to make it out of the 6th inning, but then he comes back, pitches through the 7th, pitches through the 8th, and earned that victory in Game 1 last week. Just your thoughts on Brady all season long, how he's been.
Well, Brady is, above all other things, he's a competitor, and he is sometimes to a fault going to make the other team beat him. He's not going to walk guys. And he probably gives up more hits actually than he should, because he's so aggressive in the strike zone. And it's something that we surely have worked on and talked to him about. But this last game that he threw was a perfect testament to Brady. I mean, we make 3 errors in the 1 inning and cost him 3 or 4 unearned runs, and we dig a big hole, and we're down 8-2, 8-3, 8-4, and not to any fault of his, really. I mean, it should be a really competitive game when we're down a bunch of runs. And he was upset, like any guy would be, but he just kept right on pitching. And I mean, we would have had to pry the ball out of his hand before the 9th inning in that game. And a lot of guys, if you give up a 4 or 5 spot unearned, and they'd check out at that point and say, I've thrown 90 pitches, I'm good. And we were ready to go to the bullpen in the 6th and 7th, and I mean, he said he felt great and wanted to stay in the game, and he also understands how important it is that he give us innings, win or lose. That the lead guy on the weekend really needs to give us innings. So he's a team guy all the way. And even if we would have lost that game, if Brady throws 8 innings, that still helps our team win other games and helps our team stay competitive throughout the whole series. So Brady gets it. He's been an awesome kid to coach, and I really just enjoy watching him go out and compete every weekend.
You touched on it a little earlier, saying you're not going to be able to have your normal routine of a 9-7 and a 9-7 this weekend. How important is it going to be to set the tone in Game 1? You guys are already up 1-0. It's the top of the 1st, and the bases are loaded. So you should be looking to come right out and just really build on that lead right away in a 7-inning game.
Definitely. I mean, I think that there's there's momentum in every series, and it shifts back and forth during the course of games, and it shifts back and forth during the course of series. And even in this last weekend, we won 3-1, but it could just as easily have gone 3-1 the other way. And I mean, that's how the GNEC is. And so, like, the teams that respond to adversity and answer back when the other team scores, has a big inning, and just continue to fight. I mean, I feel like those teams give themselves the best chance to win games when they aren't playing their best. I mean, we didn't play cleanly this weekend. And we played well and we competed hard, but we did not play clean defensively. I think the second day we walked 17 guys, and if you walk 17 guys, what are the chances you're going to win 2 games? And we just did what we needed to. So I mean, we definitely need that in a longer series. We need that pitching staff to step up and throw strikes and be competitive all the way through. And we also just need to have the ability to fight regardless of what the score is, and just play to the end of the game. So our guys have been pretty good at playing till the end of the game, and I just look for that to continue.
Thanks, Coach.